Today I made a BLT pasta salad, and it is one of the best pasta salads I've ever had, and it's really easy to put together. First, you're going to start off by cooking 1 pound of pasta, and you can really do whatever kind of pasta you want there. Next, I'm taking 24 ounces of bacon, and I am chopping mine up. And when I cook my bacon, I always do it on a low to medium heat. I think it cooks way better that way, and you don't get any splatters on you. And then I'm chopping up some romaine lettuce. I'm just doing that whole thing. I'm only going to use a cup or two of that, and then I'm dicing up a red onion, and then I'm taking some cherry tomatoes and just splitting those in half. And you could always use more tomatoes. I'm just not a big tomato fan. And then once that pasta is done cooking, you're just going to drain that and then rinse it over some cold water and just set it aside for now. Once that bacon is nice and crispy, you're going to take that off and then drain just on some paper towel. Now let's make the dressing. So it's 1 cup of mayonnaise, about 1/2 cup of sour cream, and then 2 tablespoons of that bacon grease. Just mix this up, and I'm adding this packet of garlic and herb seasoning. You could use ranch there or whatever you want, and then I'm adding some pepper in. Just mix that up really well. Now grab the largest bowl you have and add that pasta in and everything else. So you're going to do those diced onions, the tomatoes, the bacon. Make sure to save a little bit of each to sprinkle all over the top just to make it look pretty in the end. And now you're going to grab that dressing. Just toss that up really well until everything is nicely combined. I ended up adding a little bit more pepper to mine, and then I'm also adding some croutons. If not serving the day of, you can always wait to add that lettuce and the croutons until the day of. Let that chill in your fridge for a bit and then enjoy. Let's make a delicious and easy dinner. First, grab 2 pounds of stew meat, and you're going to season that really well with some steak seasoning. Then you're going to grab a large skillet, add just a little bit of oil to that, and you're going to sear this meat. And if you want, you can skip this step, but it does help get that meat nice and tender. Cook that until nice and browned on all sides. And now you're going to grab your crock pot out and then add that meat to your crock pot along with any of those juices. And this is also optional, but I'm adding 16 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Now add 2 packets of the au jus gravy mix and then a packet of ranch seasoning. And then you're going to add about 2 cups of beef broth. Now grab those pepperoncinis, and I'm adding about 10 of the pepperoncinis, and then a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of the juice. Just mix this up really well, and then I'm topping it with a 1/2 stick of butter all sliced up, and you're going to cook this on high for at least 4 hours. And we are also making some mashed potatoes with this one. I'm taking a 5-pound bag of russet potatoes. Just make these as you would normally make mashed potatoes. So peel your potatoes, chop those into cubes, fill with water, and then boil those until nice and tender. And while those are boiling, you're going to get that casserole dish ready. So grab a stick of butter that really well, and then add some grated Parmesan cheese to this. Then once those potatoes are done, you're going to drain all of that water, and then you're going to add 1 block of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of sour cream, and then I am adding some pepper and then some garlic powder, and then a couple tablespoons of butter, and then mash them up really well. And once those are nice and creamy, you're going to add those to your casserole dish. Just smooth those out really well, and then you're going to top it with more grated Parmesan cheese and then a few more tablespoons of butter on the top. I love those because you can make them ahead of time and then bake whenever you're ready to eat. I bake mine at 350 degrees for around 30 minutes or until just golden brown at the top like this. And then we serve those Mississippi beef bites and gravy over those mashed potatoes, and this was one of the best dinners ever. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight's dinner was another really easy crock-pot dinner. I'm making crock-pot Swedish meatballs, and these are incredibly easy. First, in my crock-pot, I added 2 pounds of frozen meatballs, and then I added 3 cups of beef broth, and then 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. Then I added a few teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce and about a tablespoon or 2 of Dijon mustard. Then I added 16 ounces of sliced mushrooms and then 1 sliced onion. Just cover this and cook on high for 3 to 4 hours. When those are all done cooking, I added about a cup to a cup and a half of sour cream. Just mix this in, and then I put some egg noodles on the stove. I decided I wanted mine a little bit thicker, so I added a cornstarch slurry to mine and just mix this up. Once those noodles were all done cooking, I threw those in as well. I let mine sit 15 to 20 minutes until it thickened up a little bit. This one was absolutely delicious. Tonight's dinner was incredible. I made a crock-pot marry me ravioli. First, to a skillet, you're going to cook 1 pound of Italian sausage with 1 diced onion. Then to your crock pot, you're going to add 1 bag of frozen ravioli. Now to a separate bowl, you're going to add 2 cups of low sodium chicken broth, 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Then you're going to grab all your seasonings. I'm using Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and red pepper flakes. Season that well, and then add about 4 tablespoons of cornstarch to this. And then grab some sun-dried tomatoes and then roughly chop those. I did around 1/3 cup. Just add that to your bowl as well, and make sure to whisk everything really good. When that sausage was about done cooking, I added a couple tablespoons of minced garlic to that. Then add your meat to your crock pot along with that sauce. Then I topped it with a couple tablespoons of butter, and then I covered this. Cooked this on low about 3 to 4 hours. hours, or you could do high about 2 hours. I like cooking this around lunchtime, and whenever the kids get out of school, it's all finished. When that ravioli was done too, I added around a half of a cup or so of shredded Parmesan cheese. Just mix until melted, and this one was so amazing. Today for lunch, I made Zesty Italian crescent roll sandwiches. This is one of my favorite easy meals. It is so delicious, and you can change it up as much as you want. First, grab a 9x13 pan, and I did put a little bit of oil down on mine. And then grab a crescent roll dough sheet, and then you're going to put that on the bottom of it. And you do not need to overstretch it there or anything. Just put it right on the bottom. Then I am layering mine with my meats. I'm doing pepperoni, ham, and then I'm putting the provolone in the middle, and then adding some salami, and then I'm putting banana peppers on it this time, black olives, and some diced red onions. And again, you can put whatever you want on it. This is just my favorite combination. Then grab another crescent roll dough sheet and just place it on the top, and then you're gonna pinch the edges shut just like this. You do want to cut a couple slits on the top of that as well. I melted a few tablespoons of butter and added those seasonings to that. Just mix that up and then spread it all over the top. You're gonna bake this in the oven at 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes until it is nice and golden. So it should look like this in the end. Then I kind of just flip mine over on a cutting board a couple times and then cut it like that. This is absolutely delicious. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight for dinner, we made the best pizza ever. To start, we're making our pizza crust. We are using the cheddar bay biscuit dough for it, so just do that as the package directions say. Then you're going to grab a sheet pan and then line it with some parchment paper and then put a little oil down on that. Make sure to put some oil on your hands when you are flattening out your dough. My one sheet pan was too big, so we're going with a smaller one. And bake that crust at 425 for about 12 minutes. And then for my chicken, I took 2 chicken breasts and split those in half to make them thin, and then season them with garlic and herb seasoning. Now shred up your cheese that you want on your pizza. We're doing mozzarella and some Parmesan. If you want, you can use like a rotisserie chicken instead of cooking your own chicken just to make it easier. But I'm cooking my chicken for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and I'm cooking mine in a little oil and some butter. And once that chicken was all finished cooking, I am taking mine and then chopping it up nice and small. When your pizza crust comes out of the oven, you're going to put some Caesar dressing down as much as you want and then spread that all over. And then I'm putting down my cheese, and then you can really add whatever toppings that you want on your pizza. I'm putting that chicken down, and then I'm using black olives. I know a ton of people don't like it, but you don't need to put it on, and red onions, sprinkling some Italian seasoning on it. You're going to bake that at 425 for about 12 minutes again. And now I'm making just one of those Caesar salad kits from the store. I like to put this salad on top of my pizza. Whenever it's done, it is truly so amazing. Make sure to let that pizza cool a bit before trying to slice it. This dinner was absolutely incredible. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight for dinner, I'm making garlic bread taco bites. I've made these a few times on here, and they are so amazing. They are really simple to make too. So first, you're gonna grab a bowl and add a block of softened cream cheese to that. Then add 1 pound of ground beef. Then I'm adding 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, and I did drain mine. Then you're gonna add a box of the cheddar bay biscuit dough mix, and you're not following the directions on that. And around a packet of taco seasoning, and then I'm also seasoning mine with some Slap Your Mama seasoning. Just do a quick little mix here, and then you're gonna add about a cup of freshly shredded cheddar cheese. And the hardest part of this dish is just mixing this all up. I started using a fork and stuff, but it just doesn't work. You have to use your hands and get in there and mix it well. It's definitely worth it in the end though. Now you're gonna grab a baking pan, and then I'm lining mine with some parchment paper, and you're gonna roll these into about like 1-inch balls, and you can go a little smaller on these too. Usually I do it smaller, but this time I did it a little bigger. I broke my ice cream scoop. That's what I normally use, so I definitely recommend using one of those. Grab that little packet from the cheddar bay biscuit dough and make that garlic butter. Then right when those taco bites come out, you're gonna spread that garlic butter right over the top of them. Let those cool in your pan a bit, or you can let them drain on some paper towels, and then you are ready to enjoy. You can dip them in whatever your favorite sauces are. We dip ours in some sour cream, and then that Taco Bell creamy chipotle sauce. These are so amazing. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight's dinner is another really easy one. My kids absolutely love this one, so if you have kids, definitely try this one out. Even if you don't have kids, definitely try this one. It is so good. First, start cooking a couple pounds of ground beef. And now to a separate bowl, you're gonna add 3/4 cups of soy sauce, about a half of a cup of brown sugar, and then I'm doing a teaspoon of ginger and around 3 teaspoons of sesame oil and a teaspoon of rice vinegar. I also added around a tablespoon or so of minced garlic. And now you're going to do however much red pepper flakes you want. I just did maybe a teaspoon. And to make things even easier, I am making some instant rice in the microwave. And while that's all cooking too, I am slicing up my green onion for the top. And if you want, you can add some veggies into that ground beef. I just know my kids won't eat it when it's all mixed in like that. So we always have ours on the side. Now drain your meat and then add that sauce. And let this cook for another 3 to 5 minutes or so just to get all the flavors in there. And your rice should be about done now. So we serve that really easy Korean beef over that rice and top with green onions. This dinner is so delicious. I hope you give it a try. Tonight I'm making a quick and easy one-pan dinner. First, I'm taking a couple smoked sausage links and then I'm slicing those up pretty thinly. Then grab a large skillet, add a little oil to that, and then 3 tablespoons of butter. Once that pan is nice and hot and that butter is melted, you're gonna add that smoked sausage in, and I'm also adding a diced onion. Sometimes when I make this, I add a couple diced bell peppers too. Now season this however you want. I am using that seasoning right there. Now once those onions are translucent and that sausage is nice and browned, you're gonna add about a half of a cup of brown sugar. You can turn down the heat a bit here and then just toss it up for a while until it looks about like this. And now I'm grabbing some instant rice and I'm adding 2 cups of this to my pan, tossing that up really well, and then adding 2 cups of low sodium chicken broth. Then you're going to add about a half of a cup of barbecue sauce. Now you're going to set the heat to high and then let it boil. Just keep mixing and tossing this around until that rice is cooked through. And since it's instant rice, it does not take long at all. It's like 3 to 5 minutes. And then I topped mine with some green onions. This dinner is so easy and so delicious. I made another delicious and easy dinner tonight. First, I grabbed 3 really large chicken breasts and then I just split mine in half horizontally to make them thin. Then I am seasoning mine with some garlic and herb seasoning on both sides. Now you're going to grab 2 bowls, and in one bowl you're going to put some Caesar dressing in there. I'm doing around a cup for now, and then some Italian style breadcrumbs in the other one. Then you're going to grab a large sheet pan, line it with some parchment paper, and then spray with some oil. And now you're just dipping that chicken in that Caesar dressing and in the breadcrumb mixture. Just make sure not to put too much of the dressing on. You just want a nice thin layer and then a thin layer of the breadcrumbs. And now you're going to spray the top of that chicken with some oil as well. Bake these in your oven at 425 degrees for 25 minutes. And while that is baking, you're just going to get your Caesar salad ready for whenever that chicken gets done. I just got a Caesar salad kit from the store. And now right whenever that chicken comes out of the oven, you're going to take some Parmesan cheese and then freshly shred that right over the top. Then place it back in the oven just for a minute or so until that cheese is nice and melted. And you're also going to toast some buns in your oven. And now you're ready to assemble those chicken Caesar salad sandwiches. These sandwiches are really easy to make and they taste so amazing. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. This is one of the most delicious one-pan meals you can make. It is incredibly easy to make. We can never stop eating this one. First, I took 1.5 of these smoked sausage links and just sliced them up thin. And then I chopped up half an onion. Then grab a large skillet and then add a half of a stick of butter to that. Once that is melted, you're going to add that smoked sausage. Once the smoked sausage is about halfway done, I'm adding my chopped onion. Then once the onion is translucent and that smoked sausage is nice and brown, I'm adding a couple of cloves of garlic. Just toss that up for a minute or so. And now you're going to add 1 pound of whatever kind of pasta you want. And I highly recommend this one. It was amazing. Just toss that up for a minute and then you're going to add 4 cups of low sodium chicken broth. You're going to set that heat to high and then let it boil. Just toss up every couple minutes so the pasta gets cooked evenly. And once that liquid is about absorbed, it'll be about 10 minutes or so. You're going to add 1 to 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Make sure to turn down the heat here too, and then I'm adding some Boursin cheese. And then you're just going to keep mixing this, and you can season this however you want to. I am adding some Slap Your Mama seasoning to mine, or you can just skip it all together. And then this is optional too, but I am adding a couple handfuls of some fresh spinach. If it isn't quite creamy enough for you, you can just add a little more cream. This pasta was so incredible, and it was gone within minutes. I highly recommend trying this one. Let me know if you do. Today's lunch is another easy and delicious one. First, grab a pound or 2 of chicken thighs and you're going to cube those up nice and small. Add those to a bowl and then season how you'd like. I am seasoning mine with some garlic powder, onion powder, some of this garlic and herb seasoning, and some Slap Your Mama seasoning. Mix that up real well, and then you're going to add a tablespoon or 2 of some cornstarch. And I forgot to add my pepper earlier, so we're adding it now too. Toss that up really well until nice and coated. Now grab a large pot and then get it ready to boil some pasta. While that is heating up, you're going to make your sauce. Grab a bowl and then add a cup of low sodium chicken broth, about a half of a cup of soy sauce, and then a 1/4 of a cup to a half of a cup of honey, and a couple tablespoons of minced garlic. Whisk that up really well and then add about a tablespoon of cornstarch and mix up again. Then you're going to grab a large skillet, add a little oil to that, and then 3 tablespoons of butter. By now your water should be boiling, and you're going to add about 12 ounces of whatever kind of pasta you want to that. And once that butter is melted, you're going to add that chicken in. Make sure to separate that chicken as much as you can, and you're going to cook this for about 3 minutes. Then flip it over and cook another 3 minutes. Pasta should be about done by now, so drain that water. Now just toss up that chicken for a bit until you get everything nice and crispy. Grab that sauce from earlier, and you're going to add that to the chicken. And that sauce will thicken up in no time. And once it does, you're going to add that pasta from earlier. Then just toss it up really well until all your noodles are nice and coated with that sauce. Then I topped ours with some green onions. This meal is so flavorful, easy, and delicious. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Ever since I started making this a month or so ago, it has been in our rotation every week. If you haven't given it a try yet, I highly recommend. First, get your pot of water boiling for your pasta. Then you're going to start cooking 1.5 pounds of ground beef. Once that ground beef is cooked, you're going to drain all that grease. And then once that water starts boiling, you're going to start cooking that angel hair pasta. I'm doing a little less than a pound this time, and you can always change the kind of pasta here too. And now back to that ground beef, you're going to add about 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning, 1 packet of au jus gravy mix, then just toss this around. And then I'm adding 2 cups of unsalted beef broth. Usually I just add about 1.5, but this time I wanted it a little bit saucier. Mix that up really good, and now you're going to add about 1/4 cup of the peppercini juice, and then you can add as many pepperoncinis as you want to this. And this is not a real spicy dish or anything, it's just kind of tangy. Once that pasta is finally done cooking, you're going to drain that, and you're going to add it to that meat mixture. Just toss that up really well. This dinner is so easy and quick, and it is amazing. It really doesn't need anything added to this. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight's dessert is the most delicious ice cream cake. I usually make this for birthdays, but today we were really just craving it. I got this recipe from my husband's grandmother, and it is so good. I just changed it up a tiny bit. First, grab a party pack of Oreos and crush those up. Then to a separate bowl, you're going to add 2.5 cups of those crushed Oreos to that with a 1/2 stick of melted butter. Just mix this up really well, and then you're going to add this to a 9x13 pan. Just press those in there really well, and then place that in the freezer while doing the next step. Now to a really large bowl, you're going to add 48 ounces of vanilla ice cream, and then 16 ounces of Cool Whip. You can change up the flavor ice cream here if you want to, and you need to make sure that ice cream is just a little thawed out. Now grab more of those crushed Oreos, just save a little bit for the top, and you're going to add those in there. And this time I am adding some Reese's to mine, and it is really good just with the Oreos too. Now you're just going to mix this up really well, then take that crust out of the freezer, and you're just going to dump that right over the crust. Spread this out really well, and then top it with the rest of those crushed Oreos, and you're going to place this back in your freezer. And it really needs to be in there overnight. When you take that out of your freezer and you're ready to serve, you might want to sit it out for 10 minutes or so to soften up a bit, but this cake is so good. I hope you guys give it a try. Let me know if you do. Let's make another 1-pan pasta. I make something like this every week, and everybody in my family loves it. First, I'm taking a couple sausage links and then slicing those thinly. Then to a large skillet, I'm adding 1/2 of this garlic and herb butter. While that melts, I'm shredding up my cheese. I'm going with Monterey Jack this time. And you can change this recipe up as much as you want. Instead of the sausage, you could use chicken. Instead of this kind of cheese, you can use another kind of cheese. You don't have to use the garlic and herb butter. You can just use regular butter or just oil. Once that butter is melted, you're going to throw in that sausage. Then you're going to pick out whatever kind of seasoning that you want to add in. I'm going with the Dano's ranch seasoning. And once that sausage is browned real good like this, you're going to add in 1 full carton of chicken broth. So about 4 cups of chicken broth. And then 1 pound of whatever kind of pasta you want. This one is our favorite right now. And then add that seasoning in. And you could always add more of that seasoning later on. You're going to let this boil, and then just keep kind of tossing it up to make sure the noodles are cooked evenly. Once that broth is about absorbed, you're going to add 1/2 cup to 1 cup of heavy cream, or you could use 1/2 and 1/2. And I always turn down the heat there. And then you're going to add 1 cup at a time of your cheese. I'm just doing 2 cups of this cheese. And then just keep mixing it up until that cheese is all melted. And if you're looking to add a veggie, you could add a handful of baby spinach at the end, which is really good too. Tonight's dinner was so incredible. It might be my favorite dinner all week. First, you're going to grab a large skillet. Then you're going to take around 8 strips of bacon or so, really however much you want, and then chop that up. Start cooking that bacon at a medium to low. Then I took around 1.5 pounds of chicken and cubed that up really small, and I'm seasoning it with Slap Your Mama seasoning, ranch seasoning, and then I did a tablespoon or 2 of some cornstarch in there, and then mix it up really well. When that bacon's almost done cooking, I added a diced onion in that, and then finished cooking it. When that's all finished, you're going to set this aside on some paper towels to drain. And I had pretty much no bacon grease, so I am adding 3 tablespoons of butter to that pan, and then adding my chicken in once that's about melted. You're going to cook this at a medium to high temperature, and then flip it over after 3 minutes, and then cook again for another 3 minutes, and then take that off and set it aside. And then to that same pan, I'm adding a package of this gnocchi and just tossing that up until nice and brown. Then you're going to add 3/4 cups of chicken broth to this, and then 1 cup of heavy cream. And now you can season it however you want. I'm adding the rest of that ranch seasoning and then a little bit more Slap Your Mom seasoning. Just mix this until it begins to thicken, which won't take much time. And then I added 2 handfuls of some spinach. Then I added maybe a half of a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. Just mix until melted, and then you're gonna add that chicken in and then top it with your bacon. This dinner was so creamy and flavorful and absolutely delicious. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Tonight's dinner was really simple and really delicious. I made this kind of Salisbury steak pasta and it was so delicious. First, I took 1.5 pounds of ground beef and you're going to start cooking that. While that's cooking, you're going to chop up 1 yellow onion. And once your ground beef is just about done cooking, you're going to remove that grease. Then throw in that onion, and you can season it however you want. Just use some kind of steak seasoning. And you can skip this next step if you want to. I am adding a couple cups of sliced mushrooms to mine. And just let that cook on a medium to low for a while. And then in a separate pot, you're going to start boiling your water for your pasta. I was going to make this a 1-pan meal, but I was afraid there wasn't enough room. All right, now to that meat, you're going to add a few tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Just toss it up really well, and then I am adding some more seasoning to that, just that steak seasoning from earlier, and then a couple tablespoons of minced garlic. Once that water is boiling, you're going to add whatever kind of pasta you want to this. We're doing the bow tie pasta today. Then to that meat, you're going to add 1 packet of brown gravy mix, and then 2 cups of unsalted beef broth. I put it on high and then let it boil and then turned it off. Then once that pasta was finished cooking, I added it to that meat. Just toss it up really well and you are ready to serve. This one was so flavorful and delicious. I hope you guys give this one a try.